And we are live. Welcome to the NBA Live Before Lock Show special Just Me edition. We are going to be able to break this bad boy down in a big, big way. 2 games, Miami, Chicago, Dallas, Sacramento, and we're talking about it all right now. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman. We're here, guys. Day 2 of the play-in. Yesterday was fun. Today, more fun. I'm ready to break it down. We got a little bit of our news earlier today. That helps. We're happy to know a little bit more than we knew earlier today. But we have all the time in the world. We've got an hour to work our way through every single one of these teams. We're going to look at DraftKings. We're going to look at FanDuel. We're going to touch on whatever we learn at the top of the hour. Probably nothing, but who knows? You know, we need to find out what's going to be in. We have the 6:30 injury report right now. Not a lot to glean. Nikola Jovic was questionable earlier today. He is out. Pelle Larsson is in. What that means, I don't know. Alec Burks, Haywood Highsmith, and Duncan Robinson all available. Josh Giddey is available. Dalen Terry is available. We are still waiting on the Q tag for Brandon Williams. That's the only questionable tag that we have for the rest of this slate. Brandon Williams. And I don't even think that's going to matter in any way. Otherwise, Monk out, Laravia out, obviously Kyrie out, Lonzo out. But here we go. I'm just going to go game by game. We'll break down all the teams just like we did earlier today. I've got our updated data. I've got my updated sim results. We can talk through logistics for these teams. But we're going to do that right now. Miami Heat, 1.5 point dogs in Chicago, 220 total. Just going to put this out there right now. I think Miami's the better team. So take that for what it's worth. Now, when it comes to ownership today, that's a completely different story. Right now, Miami's the 3rd highest owned team. Chicago is your most owned team. Sacramento behind them. Then Miami. And then Dallas bringing up the rear by a mile. Not even close. They're not even in the same ballpark. And I'm getting to, a reasonable amount of Miami right at the field. I don't really have a huge stand anywhere. A little bit more of Chicago, oddly enough, but nothing else. Hold on. Let me grab that quickly. Adios. Anyway, if we look at Miami, we actually have 2 guys from the Heat in the top 10, at least on DraftKings. On the FanDuel side, we have 4. So I'll touch on that in a second. Andrew Wiggins and Davion Mitchell are both in the top 10 on DraftKings. Mitchell ranking 6th, Wiggins ranking 7th. I prefer personally, like in my soul, Wiggins, but I have more of Davion Mitchell. If we talk about Wiggins, small forward, power forward eligible, 7K. I think there's minutes upside. Obviously he's been nursing the injury as of late, but we saw him playing like 36 minutes a night when he first came over. I don't know if that can happen, but we know that it was in his body. We have him in for 32, and that's still good enough to make him 34% optimal, 37% owned. However, it is also making me a little light on Andrew Wiggins. Not exciting, but I think I like the upside. I would have preferred a little less ownership just because of that ambiguity. But ultimately, I think you're going to end up being in and around a third of the field on somebody like Wiggins. Davion Mitchell's the guy that I don't know what to do. Because, I mentioned it on the strategy show earlier today. When he first came over, he played like 2 or 3 straight games of 30-plus minutes. And if you projected him for 30-something minutes, he was like 3,400, and no one was playing him. And now he's 5,300. I get it's a 2-game slate, but still, 5,300 and 40% owned. And I think he deserves it. Now, he's 0.75 fantasy points per minute. It's not great, but 4.8x value, pace up spot against Chicago. 20% chance of 37 fantasy points. You could probably get by with like 33 or 34. He's my most exposed guy on the Heat. So those are your two top 10 guys from Miami on DraftKings. But it's not just those guys on FanDuel, because Wiggins is 5th and Davion Mitchell is 8th. But then you get Tyler Hero at 7th. You get Bam Adebayo at 10th. And now you have a very different look here. Hero, $300 cheaper on FanDuel. He's about 10% more owned. DFS Savant. Every team that plays today is eliminated if they lose. Losers gone for both games. I like Hero here. I just don't have anything really to say. He strikes me as a right around the field guy, 9,200. We got a lot more pay up options, at least to me, that look interesting in comparison to where we were yesterday. But you've got DeRozan at 9K. You've got Giddey at 9,500. You've got Bam at 9,800. Two more guys in the top or up in 10K in Sabonis and Anthony Davis. So I think it's fine to be right around the field here for Hero. I mean, the long and short of it here for Miami is that I don't really have much of a take. Right around the field on Highsmith, right around the field on Ware, right around the field on Burks. Duncan Robinson, probably the guy that we need to have a conversation about. 3,700 shooting guard, small forward eligible. We have him in for 20 minutes, and yet 30% optimal, 32% owned. He's my second most exposed guy from Miami. So, chat, here's what I want to know. What do you guys like here for Miami today? I want to know what you guys have your eye on. Because on the FanDuel side, you're getting 50% ownership to Wiggins, 40 to Mitchell, 40 to Bam, 40 to Hero. DraftKings looks a little bit different. David, I wouldn't play Kyle Anderson if I were you. Oh, okay. Now Sean Jeezy says it. So and A-Dub. Talk to me, guys. Why Kyle Anderson? I didn't really have much of an eye on him earlier today, and I don't now. So let's have that conversation. Obviously, a guy that can play random minutes today. I don't see the minutes today. Where are they coming from? Okay, so here's the question. Because that's a lot of guys. A lot of people are saying slow-mo in this case. Sean, yeah, I'll put that up on the screen. Friend of the program, Sean Jeezy. Pay attention to Sean Jeezy on Twitter. You'd likely see him winning constantly. It's purely an ownership thing with a wildly unpredictable rotation because of Spo, and he can get there without scoring. He could also DNP. Yeah. The only thing that slows me down on Kyle Anderson is if you say you like Kyle Anderson, you have to then very obviously not like someone. We got to figure out where those minutes are coming from. Because we got to remember, like down the stretch, if we want to like box score watch a little bit, not for scoring, but for playing time. Tyler Hero missed 2 out of the last 5. Bam missed 2 out of the last 5. Wiggins missed 3 out of the last 5. Burks missed the last one. So like they had dudes out. And on the 11th, when everybody was in, they didn't care about the game. I just have no idea how much Kyle Anderson is going to play today. I like the idea of going to him on a 2-gamer. Like that part makes sense. You don't have to convince me there. And defensively, like I kind of like this matchup for him too. But those minutes have to come from somewhere. Like if you want to get Kyle Anderson to 20, is it Duncan Robinson? Is it Haywood Highsmith? It doesn't feel like it's Davion Mitchell. And after that, I don't know where they come from. I think if you like Kyle Anderson, I think it has to come at the expense of Haywood Highsmith. I think that's the only place that it can come from. I also have no confidence in that. By the way, just in case anybody's curious, we are also streaming live on playback right now. If you guys want to come join us, we got OddsShopper pulled up. People can grab the best bets of the day for NBA. If we're talking about these guys on the FanDuel side for Miami, your best options are going to be Andrew Wiggins, Tyler Hero, and technically speaking, Davion Mitchell, but give me Bam Adebayo. I'm down on Miami a little bit here. They can move these minutes around quite a bit. But I think Miami's tricky. I also just don't think they look great. If I could be light on a team, this is the team that I want to be light on. And technically, I'm under the field on Miami. Death Star says, why are you so down on Adebayo? That's a good question. 9,800 is obviously a very big price tag. I do think he has a little bit of minutes upside for sure. But I think the biggest problem for him is just that you've got Anthony Davis at 10-3, $500 more expensive than him. I think AD looks miles better. And I think Sabonis looks better relative to salary. I just don't think he's that great of a value today in comparison to the other pay-up options. So that's causing me to not get Bam. And it's causing me to get to all of the Anthony Davis, which we'll get there eventually for. So Cody 6 says, I imagine their closing lineup is Davion, Hero, Wiggins, Highsmith, Bam. I think that's too much defense. Because if you think about the Bulls, you're really only worried about Giddey and Kobe White. And that can be handled by Wiggins and Davion Mitchell. At that point, Highsmith becomes redundant. And I think you're going to like Duncan Robinson and you just want the shooting and the spacing. But I don't have a great feel for Miami. I mean, Spo is just going to do whatever he thinks is best here. Yeah, if they're looking to hold on to a lead, then you're going to get more of that defensive talent out there. But I would expect Duncan Robinson in that scenario. Let's take a look at Chicago. Hit that like button if you haven't done it yet. We've got plenty of time to break this one down. We should be getting. I should have did the Dallas Sacramento game first and waited on the lineups. All right, let's break down the Bulls because this is the team that is the most owned on the DraftKings slate. Not to mention pretty heavily owned on the FanDuel side. Our top two plays of the day exist on Chicago. That's going to be $4,600 Kevin Huerter. He was number one when I did the strategy show this morning. He's number one now, and he should be 4,600 shooting guard, small forward eligible, 61% optimal, 64% owned. He's in 87% of my lineups. He's just really difficult to dodge. Like 4,600 is a really easy price tag. They're pretty short-handed for like real NBA guys. He's got the best positional eligibility that you could get to. The flexibility that you get from rostering Kevin Huerter is pretty difficult to avoid. Goal score of 33, which he does 32% of the time. And honestly, you don't even need that much. With that ownership, you get to like 27 or 28, you're probably going to be fine. So I think Kevin Huerter is the best play of the day. We have Giddey ranked first on FanDuel. I think you could make a case that it's Huerter. He's second. But I think Kevin Huerter is just the best overall play of the day. And then we get to Giddey. He was somebody that I didn't have earlier today. I do now. 9,500, point guard only, 49% optimal, 50% owned. He made it into 65% of my lineups. He's obviously been playing much better over the past month and a half. It's been interesting to see. Honestly, I'm not a giddy guy. I think you have to build a very specific team around him to like really win games. Uh, it doesn't matter today. They don't have options. Like it's not as if he's going to get played off the floor. That's not a thing. But if he can start shooting, that's going to be real. But he's been a lot better as of late. And obviously, from a DFS perspective, I mean, come on. We're not even talking about the same thing here. Dude fills up the stat sheet. You get a little bit of everything from Giddey, and I think it's pretty easy to get to. Now, I hate the matchup for him. If we're talking, how do I actually feel about Giddey? I hate this spot. I don't think that it's a good spot for him in any way. We're talking about double bigs pretty regularly, really making it difficult to get to the rim. Obviously, they're not going to guard him aggressively on the perimeter. You're going to make him beat you first before you even care if he's shooting. Giddey on the season, he's always been bad getting to the rim. Or I guess I should say, he's always been bad finishing at the rim. 21st percentile, 26th percentile over the past 2 seasons. It's not going to look any better trying to get to the rim today. Not to mention he's going to have Andrew Wiggins and or Haywood Highsmith in his pocket the entire time. This is a really tricky spot for me because the DFS player, I don't care at all about anything that I just said. Data is data. I play my sims. I analyze my lineups. I do what I need to do. But if we're talking about the way this game sets up, I don't think it could look much worse for him. I really don't. That said, he's in 65% of my lineups, and I will be doing absolutely nothing to make that look any different. Data's data, and it looks great. So Kevin Huerter and Josh Giddey are both in at least 2/3 of my lineups. I don't think anybody's really agreeing with me here, unfortunately. We'll see. We'll see. We got a lot more guys to talk about here for Chicago, including the guy that I'm getting to quite a bit over the field. I guess we'll talk about Vooch first. 8,500 center only. We have him in for 33 minutes. I think 36 or so is certainly on the table. 30% owned, 26% optimal. Totally fine. Ranks 10th. Grades out very well. Easy to fill. You're not like you're hoping for some floor spacing as well. But Zach Collins, 3,800 center only. He's going to play probably whatever minutes Vooch doesn't play. We only have him in for 14 and a half minutes. I got him in 35% of my lineups. So I am more than 2xing Zach Collins right now. He ranks 19th in the boom bust pool, 22% optimal. The problem is this is a play that is much more likely to fail, and you can see it in the boom score. Only 8% chance of 29 fantasy points, which is what you're looking for at that salary. So, if we want to even just say it's a little pessimistic, 1 out of every 10 times this ends up being a good play. So instead of getting to Kyle Anderson, I'm going to Zach Collins instead. You know me, guys. If you guys have been watching this show all year, I was a big supporter of Zach Collins during the trade. But for right now, he's kind of my sneak dude. Because, I think Buzelis looks good. He ranks 9th. He's in 30% of my stuff. I think you can use Patrick Williams and Dalen Terry as value options. They're in 15 to 20% of my stuff. Diggs, join me on Zach Collins Island. Maybe it's not an island. Maybe it's like an archipelago or something. If I'm ranking Chicago, Herter 1, Giddey 2, everybody else is miles away from that. We talk about Kobe White, 8,200 shooting guard, small forward eligible, 18% optimal, 21% owned, only in 9% of my stuff. This is another spot that I don't really like. I mean, this is part of the reason why I like Miami. I like Miami in this game because I just think this is a really difficult defensive matchup for Chicago now that it matters. And Kobe White's going to have a long, steady supply of Davion Mitchell or Wiggins or Highsmith. Not ideal. I like the flexibility. I think 8,200's a little heavy for Kobe White. These guys on FanDuel look a little different. Herter and Giddey are the same here. They're still 1 and 2. You're still getting to a ton of both of these guys. I think Kobe White looks a lot better on FanDuel. Now, the positionality is slightly worse, but he's $300 cheaper. Uzelis gets an MPE. You only have to spend an extra $200 for it. So I actually think he looks a hair better on FanDuel. Vooch is 30% owned there. That all looks the same. And then bench-wise, you're probably not going to Zach Collins there. While you do get power forward eligibility, you do have an $800 price tag increase. Same situation for Patrick Williams and Dalen Terry. You can kind of get to whatever you need to there. Oh, man. All right. So we're working our way through Chicago. We got about 1,800 people in the door. Don't be afraid to hit that like button if you want to. We're sharing OddsShopper and the Portfolio EV tool over on Playback. That's playback.tv/Stokastic. That's where we're going to be after this show. And it's not going to be just me today. I know I got EMAC for a little bit yesterday, which was a fun surprise. Ben Raz is coming to hang out tonight on Playback. Ben and I are going to get into some fun stuff. I don't know what it's going to be. Maybe we're giving away some Portfolio EV subs. Maybe we're doing some weird quizzes. Ben's weird like that. He can tell you every country, put them on a map. It's an odd duck. While Ben's out there grinding, trying to get on Jeopardy for real, I'm out here trying to figure out who my other two partners would be on Pop Culture Jeopardy on Amazon, hosted by Colin Jost. If you guys are interested in OddsShopper, because we're going to be talking about it a lot, 7-day free trial, always. That link is in the description of basically every video that we have on YouTube. If you've never signed up at OddsShopper before, 7-day free trial always. Sports betting or pick'em sites, what's ever available in your state, we've got something for you. We even have the social sports books. You can shop around for the best lines. You can get expected value and expected win rate. We have all of our historical data. So all of our recommendations that have ever happened get saved. You can query that database, set up your own portfolio, get notifications to your phone when any bets hit that sort of criteria that you set up. And you could have as many as you'd like, really. Shop around for the best lines, mass betting, parlay builders. If you're sports betting and you're not using OddsShopper, I think you're making a mistake. If you haven't signed up to check it out yet, that's the real mistake. Because maybe you hate it and you find out after 6 days you don't want it, but it's not going to cost you anything to do it. So click the link in the description. Come join us at OddsShopper. All righty. First game is in the books. We should be getting some news on Chicago and Miami within the next 10 minutes, starting lineups. Chicago's starting lineup, I don't think we have any sort of ambiguity. Miami, I don't think they're going to do anything different. It's not out of the realm of possibility to me that they take Alec Burks out of the starting lineup, but I don't think they're going to be doing it. I think we're just going to have business as usual here. So let's talk Dallas, because they are currently the least owned team on today's slate. And it makes me wonder, is this a place where we should try to find something? I don't know. But should Dallas be more interesting? I think the salaries are bad. But let's break it down, because they do have the guy that I have in the second most of all of my lineups, and that's Anthony Davis. So let's just touch on him now. I'm guessing, even though he's 42% owned, a lot of you are going to be anti-AD. 10,300 power forward only on DraftKings, 43% optimal, 42% owned, ranks third. I just think the raw points ceiling is so high. You know, we have him projected for 3.5 more points than Domantas Sabonis and Josh Giddey, and 10 more than anybody else. I love the matchup for him from a size perspective. I don't care about Sabonis in any way. After that, it doesn't matter. I hate that he's playing the 4. Like, that's not better for him in any way, but it just doesn't matter to me. Like, Dallas wants to win. They're on the road. He's going to play every minute that he can handle. Like, if worst case scenario here is they lose and the season's over. So I'm looking at AD. I'm not the only one. He's 42% owned. In terms of pay-ups, the only guy getting owned more is Josh Giddey. But I'm over the field on both of these guys. But I like the AD side of it. I can't be worried about injuries and other nonsense like that. For me personally, I just want to get as much Anthony Davis as I can. On the FanDuel side, he's $500 more expensive. He also has center eligibility. He ranks 9th. He's 35% optimal. He's 30% owned. He's the same play on both sides. Just great. But after that, it gets really, really dicey trying to figure out what you want to do for Dallas. So before I even break it down, I just want to ask you guys in chat, what do you have your eye on for Dallas? Does Spencer Dinwiddie fall into more minutes than we're expecting? Does Clay set the clock back? What do we actually get out of someone like Derek Lively? Does he just play way more than we could have ever expected? Does Najee Marshall get more playing time than we expected? Big Top Dog, I don't think it matters at all if Brandon Williams is active. I'd rather him just be inactive so we don't have to care, but I don't think it matters. All right, let's see. Najee, Brow, PJ Washington, maybe Caleb Martin, Admiral. We'll talk about it. Clay, Lively, nobody. Playoff Clay, PJ. Not too many guys for PJ Washington, which makes me happy. I only got to 3%. He's 12% owned. I'm very anti PJ Washington now. I talked about it. Let me hit this one quickly because this will be helpful for everybody. I'm cutting myself off here. Friend of the program, Calvin and Hobo, who go find him on Twitter right now and go check out his betting results for this past year. Absolutely destroyed 2024. I'm going to assume you weren't excited to see the clock or the calendar turn over. Anyway, his question is, Josh, do you know whether your data team is projecting Najee to start or not? You're in luck, everybody. What is on the screen is the expected lineup. So what you guys see on the screen notated as point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center, that's the starting lineup that we have projected. So anytime that I have this on the screen, the 5 guys that are on the top are in positional order and the projected starting lineup. So yeah, I'm pretty anti PJ Washington now. And I talked through it on the strategy show, but I'll talk through it here. He's not playing the same position anymore. And that becomes a bit of a problem. Because Anthony Davis doesn't want to play center. He wants his team to be worse. So you're going to get, based on our projections, 19 minutes to Daniel Gafford and 18 minutes to Derek Lively. That's 37 minutes. Not a lot of playing time left over for AD at the 5, which means if you're playing AD at the 4 for that long, you're going to be playing PJ Washington at the 3 a lot. And you can see, since AD has come to Dallas, huge drop to PJ Washington's offensive rebounding rate, huge drop to PJ Washington's defensive rebounding rate. He's just not around the rim as much any longer. When you start knocking these guys back down positions, you're also keeping them further away from the rim. And in this case, that's taking away rebounding opportunities for PJ Washington. Now, maybe that means he's getting better looks on offense. I don't really think so. I think he projects worse now. And I think a lot of places are going to have him over projected using rates that don't match up to the role that he has for Dallas at this point. Well, I only have 3%. This is one of those situations where my personal opinion is in my favor. Hero, Burks, Wiggins, Adebayo, and Ware. No changes to the Heat lineup, so we're not all worried about it there. Derek Lively is an interesting guy to me today because I don't really know how many minutes he's going to play. It seems like he's going to be limited, that you're just going to get a little bit of Lively and a little bit of Gafford. AD plays the other minutes at the 5, and you go about your business. I also think that their goal is to play Derek Lively more. Do they have too many centers right now? Yes. There's nothing they can do about that unless they want to go ahead and retrade AD back. Oh, there you go. Yeah, anytime I haven't flipped to it in a while, don't be afraid to ask in chat. So, Lively 4,800 on FanDuel. He's 10% owned there. I think that's all very reasonable. I have no real idea on how you can get to Daniel Gafford on DraftKings at 6,300. There's getting different, and then there's getting different. And that's going to be probably a bit too different for my taste. But like, you look at that ownership on FanDuel on PJ Washington, like 6,500 is a great price tag. And I don't think it's crazy that he's 30% owned, but man, I think that's a little downside. Choke hold him, absolutely. So you can see outside of AD, I don't have too much more of this Dallas team. I did get over 20% to Clay. I think he looks interesting just because of the guard forward eligibility. I'm not super interested in Dinwiddie. I think that gets complicating whether or not they're going to be playing any Dante Exum. I don't know what they're doing with Caleb Martin. I don't think Caleb Martin makes a lot of sense in this series. Like, if you're playing that big and you have Gafford going so much and Lively and AD and PJ Washington, to me, they need creation. Whether that's in the form of Dante Exum or Jaden Hardy, I don't know. But even still, you're not getting to those guys. I do think Exum could be sneaky at the flat mid. Oh, I have the hiccups. We don't really have him projected for any real minutes, but I don't think it would be crazy for the 13 minutes that we have projected to Caleb Martin to just go directly to Dante Exum. P. Wayne, how come him playing the 4 isn't better for him? Because he would be better at the 5. He can't shoot. This takes him further away from the hoop, a place where he should be closer to. Yeah, unequivocally, any basketball team is better with Anthony Davis at the 5, unless the 5 that he's playing alongside of is like Wemby. All right, we've broken down 3 teams so far. We have Sacramento yet to go. We're still waiting on the Bulls starting lineup. Don't think that we have anything to stress about there. So let's get through Sacramento, and we'll take some questions. Maybe we'll build a lineup. We got a lot to do. I'm going to itch my shin because for some reason it feels like I need to carve it off of my body. Let's talk Sacramento. Very interesting team today for a couple different reasons. So obviously no Malik Monk, no Jake LaRavia. I don't think they're happy about that. They could use that depth. They don't exactly have a ton of it. The most owned guy for Sacramento right now is the guy coming in at number 4 on DraftKings, and that is Keegan Murray, power forward eligible, 5,400, 40% optimal, 47% owned. He's in 55% of my lineups. I'm honestly a little surprised I have as much as I do. This might be a testament of what power forward looks like. Because while the point per dollar value is great, I do feel like he's a hair over owned, but data wise, that doesn't seem to be happening for me. I am cornering the market on power forwards that play for Sacramento, though, because Trey Lyles is sitting there at 3,900 on the bench, in for 26 minutes, power forward center eligible. He ranks 5th, 40% optimal, 40% owned, in 47% of my stuff. I'm just getting to power forwards from the Kings. Whether it's Keegan Murray or whether it's Trey Lyles, it's both guys. Giddey, White, Herter, Buzelis, Vucevic. Did not expect anything different. So those are the two guys I have the most of. They're also the two most owned guys. The one thing that I don't have as much of is Keon Ellis. And I thought I was going to have a lot more, but 34 and a half minutes, point guard, shooting guard eligible, 5K, 38% owned. Only 29% of my lineup, so a little bit less. He is coming in eighth, but look at that boom score. 16% chance of 35 fantasy points. That is a little limited. Not a guy with a huge standard deviation here. That low fantasy point per minute makes it a little tough, so I am a little lighter on Keon Ellis. Anish, what made my Giddy ownership jump from earlier? Just projection changes, ownership changes, stuff like that. The rest of Sacramento is where things get weird because I don't think Zach LaVine or DeMar DeRozan look all that good on DraftKings. Hear me say this. FanDuel, completely different conversation. Zach LaVine is 8,700 on DraftKings, shooting guard, small forward eligible. On FanDuel, however, he's 7,400. He's $1,300 cheaper. He ranks fourth on FanDuel. He's 47% owned. DeMar DeRozan, 9K, small forward only on DraftKings. 8,100, small forward, power forward eligible on FanDuel. He ranks sixth. He's 40% owned. They are completely different plays between DraftKings and FanDuel. I don't have all that much of them on DraftKings, and I'm okay with that. I don't think they grade out all that well. They're too expensive. FanDuel's a completely different story. Now, Sabonis, 10-5, center only, 25% optimal, 25% owned. Looks great. Very easy to get to. I think we have enough value. I don't mind the matchup. His rebound prop today is insane. But the guys that we need to talk about, the guy that we need to talk about here is Devin Carter. Point guard, shooting guard eligible, flat 3K. He's their lottery pick rookie for this year. I think he was in the lottery. At least it was close to it. It doesn't matter. He's 20% optimal. He's 20% owned. He's in 20% of my lineups, but he's terrible as a per minute guy. I don't like this at all. I don't think he's a good value. I don't really like his upside. I don't really like the idea of getting to rookies, especially rookie guards, or at least rookie guard-ish. But he is in my lineups. I have way too much of him as a paydown option, and I find him pretty unappealing. I don't like this. I mean, we have him projected for 9.9 fantasy. I think Devin Carter is somebody that I'm going to naturally try to get a little bit less of when I run my sim in the next 10 minutes, which may impact the amount of Anthony Davis and Josh Giddey I have. But like the path to Devin Carter getting more minutes is narrow. I would much rather roll the dice on a guy like Dante Exum, who might just DNP, than take Devin Carter today. I just don't like it. BD, I didn't. I wouldn't play him. I don't like him. Josh Gillum, can Jalen Smith be in play over Collins? I doubt it. They haven't done anything to make it seem like they want to play him. And trust me, nobody was looking for that more than me when that trade went down. All right. Let me sum this up for FanDuel, because I mentioned the LaVine prices and the DeRozan prices. It's not just them. Ellis is still massively owned and ranks third. His price isn't better. Keegan Murray's price is a little higher, but it buys him an MPE. Similarly, Sabonis is $500 cheaper, and he gets power forward eligibility. Carter not getting as much love on the FanDuel side. Edward B. Burgon, North Carolina in the chat. What's up, man? I'm here. I'll wave to you. Can you see me? Probably not. But we're close. Anthony Davis with the member message for 46 months. Who would run backup point guard if Brandon Williams is out for Dallas? Dante Exum, Jaden Hardy, Najee Marshall. If Brandon Williams is in, I don't really think he plays. We have no idea if he would even be ahead of Dante Exum or Jaden Hardy. All right. 4 teams up, 4 teams down. Don't forget, guys, if you are interested in signing up at Stokastic and you want to get the Sims, you can sign up through one of our partners. There's a link in the description. You see them all on the screen. Underdog, Better, Sleeper, BetMGM, Caesars, Sportsbooks, and Pick'em sites. If you've never signed up through one of those sites before, you can click the link in our description. Sign up at Stokastic. Sign up through them. They're going to give you like a bonus bet or a deposit bonus or something. You'll get a month of a core sports package for free. Like if you want our NBA package for the next month, that's projections and ownership and our Sims and Discord, you don't even have to pay us anything. You can come in for a month, test it out, figure out what we have. It's a great time to be here for NBA. I mean, if you're watching this show and you haven't signed up here, why not do it? Come on in. Link in the description. Don't forget about it. Oh, lost my overlay. All right. So we are now through every game. I assume. All right, we put a projections update in at 7:08, or sorry, at 7:05. We got an ownership update at 7:08. I'm going to grab all of the data and I'm going to start running some lineups and we're going to figure out where we're at. Guys, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them into chat. I'm going to tell you guys this one time. If it's a 1v1 or a 2v2, save it. I'm going to help you guys out. I'm going to give you guys something that'll make your lives easier. I'm going to drop the link in chat in a second. If you prefer the FanDuel side, just change the end of the URL. That link takes you to the player compare tool. If you guys want to do 1v1s and 2v2s, you can use all of our data, compare the two players, and see all of our stuff. DraftKings or FanDuel. If you want to talk about the slate as a whole or the logic behind it, let's get into that. 1v1s and 2v2s, totally free in the player compare tool for DraftKings and FanDuel. All right, let's get the updated data. And then let's get into this. And hit that like button if you haven't done it yet. I'm enjoying this show, guys. I'm really enjoying this show. I think we're going to have a good time. And I'm really pumped to do playback with Ben. I don't do nearly enough. I don't do any content really with Ben any longer. We used to do a ton of it. Shout out to anybody that actually watched the breakfast menu. Is that what we called it? I can't even remember now. Boy, did it. No one watched it. So the amount of people here that could have watched it is probably pretty thin, but man, that was a fun time. Golf show, producing golf shows back in the day. Now we're here. Hang out on playback for an hour. Oh, don't worry. You guys are going to get a nuke of the night. All right. Projections on the screen in terms of like ownership and stuff are updated. I don't think they're going to move around all that much. Obviously, nothing really changed. But I'm going to run my Sims right now. We can take a look at my exposures. Maybe we'll build a lineup once I get my stuff in. And then we're going to be good to go. We could hit a white of the night and a nuke of the night once I run my stuff. Aquarius says, me and Ship were like Shaq and Kobe. That makes a ton of sense. Me, Shaq, the legend, one of the greatest big men ever, still here. Kobe, that could be Adam. He's not with us at Stokastic. Oh, man. Jake Metzger, was Davion supposed to start? No. All right, let's get my template exported. Mr. Smith, you set those settings based on whichever contest you're in. How's that out of line? It's just true, guys. Just true. Didn't say I'm happy about it. Just that it's true. All right. Projections are generated. I did give a little bit of a bump to the late game to try to get a little bit more of that for late swap purposes. Always helpful. How about a fun, wacky lineup build with $800 ish remaining on DraftKings? That's a super chat from JR. The moment that this sim is done, I'm just going to export my lineups. I'm going to get them into the sheet. I'm going to get them uploaded to the site, and then I'll build lineups for the rest of the show. But I do need to make sure that I get my stuff in first. And I'm only playing a 20 max today. I didn't want to get too crazy while I was solo doing this show. You never know what's going to happen. Situations like that. So my exposures are going to look a little bit different than what they do on the screen right now, because the proportions are going to be way different. What the hell why is Nightbot on here? Why am I giving Nightbot any shine? I don't know. Nightbot's pretty good. Nightbot's great, except for when Charles is here and he activates the 2,000 different Nightbot messages. Love you, Charles. But I would do anything in the world for you to never do that again. Alrighty. Lineups are generated. Lineups are refreshed. Top 20 lineups going into the sheet. That looked like a lot of Spencer Dinwiddie's name, and I'm not going to lie to you guys. That doesn't make me happy. All right. My lineups are done. Just need to put them into DraftKings, and we'll be all set. And we'll have a couple of minutes to build some lineups. Show you guys the single lineup simulator. Arguably the greatest tool we've ever created. That's not even arguable. It just is the greatest tool we've ever created. There's no denying it. So whatever exposures you guys see on the screen right now for me are correct. 35% of Davion Mitchell, 35% of Duncan Robinson, not too much else of Miami, 80% of Herter, back under the field again on Josh Giddey. I'm cool with that. Way over on Zach Collins. That apparently is going to be my getting weird situation. My nuke wasn't crazy yesterday. Once he wasn't starting, it was obviously just not a nuke. A lot of Buzelis for me now. Can handle that. Tons of AD, almost every lineup. Way over the field on Najee Marshall. That's going to be a huge stand for me. And then Sacramento, lots of Trey Lyles, lots of Keegan, pretty flat everywhere else. I'm not going to play the audio or anything for it. I'm just going to give you guys Nuke of the Night and White of the Night. Nuke of the Night for me tonight. Give me Najee Marshall. That's the guy that I'm most over the field on other than AD. I don't want to give you AD because that's obvious. So give me Najee Marshall. And White of the Night is very easy for me. This isn't even up for debate. I have 40% of a 15% owned Zach Collins. So it's Zach Collins. Not even close. All right, let's build a lineup. Let me get this tab shared as well. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. We still have about 10 minutes to go. I should be able to make this a bit bigger. We can take this overlay off the screen here. Where the hell is the big screen share? Can I really not make that any bigger? Guess not. Oh, well. Best we could do. The czar is in the building, though, folks. No one does this better than me. If you're playing the large field contest. Now, what was that message from before? How much do I need to leave on the table? 800. Okay. We're going to leave $800 on the table. We're going to build a lineup by hand. Then we're going to end up on playback. We're going to get Sabonis. You know what? I'm going to get Vooch as well. Let's get weird. Ooh, I don't think if I go to Tyler Hero there, I don't think I'm going to be able to finish that lineup. Let's get Buzelis. Let's get Trey Lyles. Let's get Kevin Huerter. Let's get Andrew Wiggins. Now I have 5K for everybody left. Point guard. Ugh. All right. So if I want to leave money on the table, if I take, what is the optimal two guys left? All right. There's 1,000 on the table. Here we go, JR. You wanted a fun, wacky lineup with 800-ish remaining. This is 1,000 left on the table. Davion Mitchell, Kevin Huerter, Andrew Wiggins, Matas Buzelis, Sabonis, Duncan Robinson, Trey Lyles, Vooch. I'm not confident in what we're about to get here. Let's remember, 237 is the projection. We need to find out what the optimal projection is first. How'd we do? I think it's negative. Yeah, I wasn't confident. 237 is the projection. If we clear that and just look at the optimal, it's 252, 354% ownership. We need to get that projection up on that lineup we built by like 10. So let's find the natural value first. I think those two centers probably hurt me a little bit. So I'm going to stick with Vooch. Then I'm going to get Tyler Hero. Now we can start getting a little bit more of the value by getting Buzelis and Andrew Wiggins. Keegan Murray. Kevin Huerter. Final two guys. That leaves me 600. Is 600 enough, JR? We're up to 242 now. Five minutes to go before lock. We got it. We snuck over the edge of 2%. I don't want to leave salary on the table like that. But I do also want to do this for the FanDuel crew. Let's pull one up on FanDuel and let's get one built there. You guys can build your lineups like this. Maybe you have like 5 guys that you like a lot. You can click the complete this lineup button and it'll give you the most optimal 4 plays after that. So if we want to do this on FanDuel, I think we get Anthony Davis right out of the gate. And then I think we get Vooch in at center. Save some salary. At point guard, value really falls off a cliff after a while. I think we're going to get Davion Mitchell. At shooting guard, man, you just have to eat a ton of ownership. Give me Kevin Huerter. At small forward, it's going to be Keegan Murray. So now we have 1 left at every position. I'm just going to take the whatever is optimal from there. Let's see how we did. Mitchell, Ellis, Levine, Huerter, Wiggins, Murray, AD, Trey Lyles, Vooch. This one's going to be, there it is. The czar in the building, bumping out 53.6% sim ROI lineups for FanDuel. Doesn't get much better than that. Oh, hold on. Let me go ahead and remove that guy. Vic7 says Joval. Yeah, don't play Joval. Chris Albers, don't play Joval. Let's see. All right, Ryan, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, so that's a FanDuel lineup. So let me run that quickly for you. Giddey, Ellis. Ah, Giddy Ellis. Herder Levine. Wiggins Thompson. Murray Lyles Davis. Murray Lyles Davis. Spends all of the salary. Let's see how Ryan did here. Lineups on the screen. Ryan 84.8. Ryan's cheating, everybody. Ryan went ahead and ran Sims and gave us a lineup he knew was going to look good, so he'd look good. Shame, Ryan. Shame, shame, shame. Nobody likes a cheater. Nobody likes a cheater. Two and a half minutes left to go, folks. If you don't have your lineups in yet, what are you waiting for? Brandon, you sent in a super chat? Last man in, Marshall or Buzelis? Apologies for that. I didn't see it earlier. That's interesting. I have the exact same amount of both guys. I have 55% of Marshall and I have 55% of Buzelis. So I have a big stand on both guys. We have Marshall projected for 0.3 of a fantasy point more. They're basically the same ownership. I don't have a separator. Here's what we're going to do. We have 2 minutes left. We're going to spin the wheel. All right, here we go. I know I'm taking too long, but I can't help myself. All right, here we go. Oh my gosh. All right, here we go. We're spinning the wheel. Marshall or Buzelis? Who's it going to be? Buzelis gets the win. All right, I'm going to start dropping the link into chat right now. Playback.tv/Stokastic. Myself, Ben Raza, hanging out. We're going to have the game on. Put that on for a little bit. We'll be bouncing around, talking bets, talking who the hell knows what else we'll be talking about. Wild stuff. Ben and I have quite a bit of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed Live Before Lock Solo Edition. No games tomorrow. There is no NBA. It's baseball only. Keep your eyes peeled for the early baseball show tomorrow. Putting it out there right now. Dave Loughran, Josh Engleman, MLB early, Live Before Lock, I think. But whatever our early MLB show is tomorrow, you're getting me and Laffy breaking it down. And I think there's 3 games or 4 games. We're going to have a lot of time to just do an old school me and Laffy show. I don't know if you guys are excited. I'm thrilled. We aren't. We're going to just get into some weirdness. We're going to talk some baseball. We're going to have some fun. But right now, it is 7:30 on the dot, which means we are locked and this show is over. We're heading to playback. Playback.tv/Stokastic. Myself, Ben Raza, watching basketball. We'll see you soon, everybody. Thank you for being here. Sign up at Stokastic.